So sad. I didn't realize how bad these looked, but they are really sad. Maybe we just aren't compatible. Sometimes that's the way things go, right? The time has come to address a plant that I've been ignoring and neglecting for a while. If I'm being honest, don't tell her this, but I was giving up on her. Allow me to introduce you to my philodendron Lupinum. Oh wait, there's more. Here she is. Hi. Yeah. What's up? What do you want? What are we doing? You never get on this table. You're very pretty, but you're also really in the way. You want to turn around and say hi to people? Hey, May. Could you get down, please? Thank you. Prior to an hour ago, these were growing on here. And I use the term growing rather loosely in this context because she really wasn't growing. Honestly, I was ready to scrap this plant. I'd put her in a corner and I didn't care. Got this plant almost exactly a year ago to the day, and here's what she looked like. And here's what she has the potential to look like. Yeah, so we're not quite there. We have really regressed over the year. After I got her and let her acclimate, I put her on a moss pole to encourage her to grow and mature a little bit faster, to help give her something to climb on. Well, she didn't like it. I don't know why. I tried to troubleshoot it many, many times. Honestly, we have not gotten along since day one. That said, something struck me today when I walked past her and I thought, you know what? She still has some life in her. And we've been here before with other plants and they've bounced back better than ever. So why not just give it one last push? So today we're going to get her potted up so that hopefully in a few months from now, I will show you guys a video of a very happy Lupinum. Here's how we're going to do it. And I've used this method successfully before. Exhibit A. I think this is a philodendron silver sword. Could be wrong because I don't label things. But this is exactly how this started. Just little chunks of stem and nodes that I put in this moss, and then it sprouted new plants. Same thing here. Obviously much further along. What we're gonna do is cut between nodes. Here's what I'm talking about. On the vine here, actually this is a great example. These are the roots that were growing into the moss pole initially, and then I had to rip it out. But anyway, so as long as I cut between these nodes, and then these nodes get planted in the moss, that's where the new plant should be produced. Chopping at nodes and giving the plant an environment where roots can then grow out of those nodes again, that's how you propagate these types of plants. That's essentially what we're doing. We're just propagating her so she can start over. So that's why I've gone ahead and cut her up into smaller pieces. These were like on the end of this, obviously. Maybe that's not obvious, I don't know. But they were. I chopped them up further so that we can put these under the moss and hopefully these will shoot out roots and eventually new leaves. Do that one. Worst case, she doesn't make it. She wasn't gonna make it anyway. Best case, I have a new plant that's happier and healthier, and I would love to see her mature. Very big sense of accomplishment, very rewarding when you get your plant to go from these really juvenile leaves to their full potential, or at least closer to their potential. Nursery pot, this is damp sphagnum moss. So moss should be like wet through, but not enough that it's gonna drip when you squeeze it. That's my suggestion. I'm just gonna set these nodes on top. Try to spread them out a little bit, and then we'll put another thin layer of moss over that. Okay, so there's the layer of nodes. And I'm gonna put a little bit more moss over that. And then what I'll do is set this nursery pot in a little cover pot or a dish like this one is. Oh, like both of these are. And then I'll just occasionally add a little bit of water to the cover pot so that we're consistently keeping this moss wet. I talked about this really briefly in my plant tour video because my varicosum was struggling, and I did the same method with her, and now she's taking over my whole cabinet. So this can be really effective. Make sure you keep the moss wet. If this dries out, and especially for a prolonged period of time, you probably won't be successful. So make sure you keep this wet. If you can keep it in a humid environment, that's gonna multiply your chances of success by a lot. Or if you don't have a greenhouse or a humid environment, you could put a second nursery pot over this, like a dome, you know, and tape it on there. You could buy, I've seen at the Dollar Tree, the little cloches, what do you call those? The little domes, the plastic domes, they're specifically designed for plants. They may not have them now because we're in fall, winter, and it was more of a spring thing, but something similar to that where you can put it in a dome and enclose it and keep the humidity in. You get the point. Another idea would be if you had a Tupperware container or, you know, a dish like that with a lid where you had enough space to plant the nodes and then still, you know, leave a gap for the lid. That would work as well. So it's just propagation. It's kind of the same concept when you propagate with corms in alocasia, or how else? Those are the two really common ones, I guess. But anyway, concepts are the same. Hope that was interesting. And hopefully I'll be updating you guys in a little while with a new video on our improved lupinum. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Oh, well, I didn't have any lines for you, but I guess if you want to just go off the cuff. Okay. Anyway,